Don't forget that this tutorial is part of a series of tutorials which you can access on our YouTube playlist, or alternatively, if you would like to, you can purchase the whole course on Udemy. There should be a link to the YouTube playlist and a link to our Udemy course, which should always provide the best price in the video description. Something that we have seen with our set of tables is that we have quite a few tables, and in the Django admin, we would need to load them all up, and it could take a long time for us to navigate to each table, having to insert the data. Something that we might consider once we have maybe made some basic customizations with our Django admin models is to think about how we actually input data into the models and where potentially it would be best to have related models within the same admin interface. If we think about our own models here, what we have is, well, let's just think about the workflow. We would create some categories, we'd add some attributes. Those would be fairly static potentially, but eventually we would get to a point where we have to start add some products. So thinking about that workflow, we would go to the product page. That would then relate to, in this case, the products table, and we would add a product. Now, what we need to remember here is that the products table, the data is split over two tables. We have the main product details, and then we have the product lines. So ideally, I think in this scenario, we would want to be able to create a product at the same time then, or in the same view, and the admin actually then add the product lines at the same time, or at least be able to put them in the same space so we can see the product information and then the product line information all in the same space. So this might be a good reason to include in the admin an inline. There are two types of inlines, a tabular inline and a stacked inline. And really it is what it says. A tabular inline will show the data from left to right across the page, and a stacked inline will be data stacked on top of each other. So the fields will be stacked vertically. Of course, depending on the data that you are viewing, sometimes it can be more useful to have a tabular inline display across. Sometimes it can be better to have a stacked inline. This might be one of those occasions where actually seeing it is going to make it easy to understand what it is that we're trying to achieve. Now, I've stripped back some of the code from the previous tutorials in the admin here, so we can work forward from this point. So what we're going to do first is to think about what is going to be the inline. What are we going to stack together? What are we going to put together? So we've already decided that the product admin, or the product, sorry, and the product line are probably two models where we want to enter in the same space. So I'm going to set up the product line inline, and product line table. This is going to be my first inline, and this is going to then be admin.stacked inline. Okay, so I'm going to use a stacked inline in this case. Like I said previously, there's two types of inlines. A stacked inline, which is going to just be displayed stacked down the page, or a tabular inline. So you can choose at this point whether you use stacked inline or a tabular inline. I think it's going to be better viewed as a stacked inline in this occasion. Right, so now we can set up the model. So we just define the model, which is going to be the product line, which we're going to need to import in. So product and product line. Okay, and then once we have that in place, we can go ahead and define extra. So extra equals 1. So this is the number of empty forms to display. So when we view this admin page, we're going to see that we will have one extra field where we can start to type in some more product lines. And we can specify, maybe if we know that we're always going to have 4 product lines, we can specify 4 here, but we're just going to show one extra product line where users can start to type in the product line. If they need more, there will be a button where they can add some additional product lines. Okay, so that's the inline sorted. So now we just need to create the new class for the product admin, which you may already have from the previous tutorial. So you can go ahead and change this. So this is going to be admin, model admin. And now we just need to specify a few things. So we might have a list display. So let's well, actually, we won't worry about that for now, adding those different features that we've been discussing over the last tutorial. So let's just go straight to the point and define our inlines. So inlines equals, and this is going to be the product inline, product line inline. There we go. Okay, so with that in place,